My name is Vuk Jovanovic. I'm sending this report from Europe to Mr. Donald Trump and Mr. Giuliani as well. Donald, I'm very glad that every day we all are seeing that more and more people, very important people from Congress and Senate, are going to be with you, and that's makes us very happy. And it means that you are absolutely accepted from the part that we never was very afraid of. What is my goal today is to explain, because Rudy Giuliani is a very well-known person who is working with justice, that we'll be able to show one of the most, I would say, the biggest scandal in American history. That lady by the name Hillary Clinton is running for the president, although this is a very well-known fact by the major agency who discovered her, meaning CIA and NSA, that she is a spy. You see, why I'm coming out with this subject, and how come the person who is not American, who is coming from Serbia, all countries, are having such exclusive information that I'm so easy about that. And I also put my program on YouTube by speaking virtually with the director of CIA, Mrs. Cannon, and I send this to everybody else, meaning from other part of the American side, by saying that I know all details. Do I have a history of working with such topics? This topic should be from now on, very, very strongly observed. That's why Mr. Giuliani is the right person to do so, and I would very much like to meet him as soon as possible. This is a topic that should be monitored from thousand sides, because America could not allow themselves to have a president who is a spy. As you all know, I mentioned also in my report, which I put as my reference, that Mrs. Clinton should be and could be by no means blackmailed. That's what people does with the people who are spies, and especially when they don't need them anymore. As my reference, now I'm referring to Mr. Giuliani and his people from the Justice Department that he worked with before. I worked a long time with, I would say, the best example of a person who was actually spying, hold the chair, gentlemen, for 6 different countries. The name of this person was was biggest scandal in the United Nations, that notorious war criminal by the name Dr. Kurt Waldheim worked for 6 different countries. As my reference, I'm going to send you the film which was done about that. I know people that I work with from not only from Justice Department. I'll mention just the name as reference. His name is Patrick Trenner. He's a historian, a brilliant man who spoke my language very well. And not only that, but he knew about Kurt Waldheim almost everything. First person that I worked, Rudy, from Justice Department was Neil Scher. Neil Scher was first the director of the Special Office of Special Investigation, U.S. Congress Special Investigation of War Criminals. And as you know, I brought my very dear friend to an event that all Italians are celebrating together with other people in the United States, which is NIAF, Italian American Foundation, which is in every October are coming most successful Italians to Washington, D.C., and in they're having dinner. 1,000 people are attending. I was there once with my dear friend from Italy, Prince Gianfranco Aliate Montereale, Italian prince who was also engaged in World War II. For that reason, I brought him to meet Neil Scher. For 2 reasons also. First reason was, of course, Waldheim activity during World War II that he was investigating at the time. And secondly, Donald, bigger secrets than the secret that Mrs. Clinton is a spy. That is the biggest secret of the whole world, the secret of the World War II. Namely, Prince Aliata is a good friend of Mussolini, and I knew that before. He's a member of the oldest a Masonic organization, Frati di Gesù from Rome. He's late now. I brought him to Washington in '95, and Giuliani will remember because the president who were at the time was Mr. Clinton and Hillary Clinton, and there was a dinner. And I was there present with my dear friend from University, Washington D.C., Brennan from Georgetown. He was professor at Georgetown University, anatomy professor, big name in medicine. And I invited also Neil Scherer's wife, except people from Italy who were there. After that event, I was able to show Mr. Prince Aliata gave a speech in Justice Department, very exclusive one, about the biggest secret. The secret was that England, first that Hitler was English spy, that we all know now, but not in '95. Hitler was actually, the plan was, or people who were around Hitler, Illuminatis who've been leading him, together with Gorman, with General Reichard Gehlen, the spy of the century, I would say the biggest criminal of the war in the history. We'll speak later on about him as well. It's a very important issue. Dr. Mengele, who was nearby. And they've been pushing Hitler for Russia, and the whole idea was if Soviets will be defeated, the plan of Illuminati, who used whole German nations for that purpose, was that there will be one country together. Germany and England will merge together. They will only make a switch that the King George will be changed with Richard VIII, who was, as you know, married to Mrs. Winston, and she will be the First Lady. And he was, as all knew that at the time, he was very much pro-Hitler. He was also meeting Hitler frequently, and so on and so on. So that was the idea. Interestingly, how the life is cruel, that all people who were in Nuremberg process, meaning who were accused, hanged, whatever, as a war criminal, they will be the leader of that new country, meaning England and Germany, who were supposed to be together. So it didn't happen, and then the whole world punished Germany. They bombarded Germany to hell, and they, as we all know, hanged these people. So this is. I want to just show you that the world of secrets, and I do have a lot of secrets that I'll present you today as just a little preview. Just to explain you that my possibility is that my all details about Mrs. Clinton's treasoning is absolutely fact, ladies and gentlemen. The other secret which I possessed is, besides that, I work with, I brought a lot of documents of Kurt Waldheim to the Justice Department, also to people from World Jewish Congress. People remember me, and Donald, and you know them very well, Singer Israel, and Ilan Steinberg. I organized a meeting at the time with our foreign minister in Madison Avenue. It was '92, Minister Vladislav Ivanovic, because I'm on record. And I was, before that, I brought our president at the time, Dr. Kostic, gave me a chance to open this file, and they gave me thousands of documents. But there was another part of Yugoslavia at the time, people from Croatia, they didn't want to participate in that, so the Secret Service of Croatia, and especially they have one of the person who is Illuminati, member of Illuminati, who is controlling Tito, President Tito. His name is Stane Dolans. He organized me. I was the subject of assassination, and I was very lucky that I survived. I show you the pictures, and there's a movie about that, which was done by the lady Miranda Polak. Donald, I introduced her also when she was, when I was living in your building, Trump Park. I introduced her to your wife when you was having Hotel Plaza was in your possession. It was at the time about 90. As I know, this is just one part of this. What else is I'm going to tell you from the top secret which I possess is possibility. First of all, I'm insider. I'm a member of society that is very well known to have information in the world. And Pritaliata was my friend who was giving me a lot of information, and I was his deputy magistrale per Stati Uniti, meaning that I represent his lodge of the United States. So I learned from him a tremendous lot in history. Could imagine to have such a person who is part of the history. So he's the first hand, so I would say. One of my interesting situations in life was, as I mentioned, the first letter, Donald, to you and to Mr. Giuliani, which I sent him. And I also sent to a young man who was the mayor of Brookville. Her name is Daniel Serota, who is son of the Donald's and Ivana's good friend, dear lady who I very much and respect, Vivian Serota, as a record. I sent him the material as well. So the point is that I went to Las Vegas. I'm an economist as well, and my project won the first prize in Malta. I went to Las Vegas to find investors, and I visited all these people. Donald knows it because he's in the business. And at the end, was a company by the name who accepted this project was a hotel chain of from New York, from the United States, Hyatt Hotels. But point of the matter is that I moved to Las Vegas, and by coincidence, because I'm also doing film, it's my alter ego, I was showing my film about false flag terrorism in Bosnia, which was on daily basis. Especially, I'm showing one film which I showed to the producer of 60 Minutes, Don Hewitt, at the time, who was my hero, the late Mr. Hewitt. And also, I showed the film also to his assistant at the time, Jeff Fegger, who is now a producer of the program, who will be, I hope, when I come to New York, Donald, he will be our guest, because we'll also be able to investigate Bill Clinton's activity. First, he has attacked my country, Serbia. He bombarded my country without any approval by any agency in the world, and especially based upon false flag terrorist act. I'm sure, gentlemen, if I'll be able to show you this film footage, which I showed to Jeff Fegger, who is, as you know, very active today, you will be laughing. You will start laughing like Jeff and Don Hewitt laughed. I will recall this situation again because I wrote many times about this event. First, I was extremely impressed to be with such individuals. Who was my hero in journalism, who I like very much, and 60 Minutes was the program that I was watching ever since I was a pro in Europe. And then I meet my hero in front of me. I went there upon recommendation of David Viner, reporter of the New York Times, who's now living in London, who will be also testifying on that. And then we watched it, and Don Hewitt said, "Okay, absolutely, I'm right. There's nothing more to see. It's so easy to see that." Like a kid game, they brought a frozen body from the refrigerator. They just dropped them in the market, and there's nothing on the market, no fruit, no vegetable, nothing motive for people to come to the market, and they make scenery very cheap. And I spoke at the time in my film with director of Task Force for Terrorism and Unconventional Warfare Republican Commission, Joseph Bodensky, who happened to know somebody who I'm very, very acquainted with for 15 years, from Israel, and Dr. Boaz Ganor, who is director of the Center for Counterterrorism in Herzliya. He was a good friend. He was getting all this information from that source, and that was not done by the Serbs. It was done by Iranian organization, Secret Service Shabaa, together with Palestinians from Lebanon. They've been masquerading not only one, but 10 different false flag terrorist acts in Israel, which was produced with all these famous movie film star like Peter Jennings, who've been always coming coincidentally just day before such tremendous crime happened. This is a high time to be engaged to prove that. But you see, now we're coming back to the topic again of Mrs. Clinton and her affair. I was able to meet when I moved to Las Vegas to people from so-called American patriotic movements. I didn't know that they existed even, although I was commentator with Barry Farber, who was my good friend from ABC, one of the best journalists in the world. And I went to Las Vegas and I met all these patriots. I met a very important person who you know him perfectly well, Mr. Giuliani. He was the best policeman, FBI officer. His name is Ted Gunderson. Ted Gunderson, after he finished his career, he got shot. He worked for some of the famous lawyers at the time, and all of a sudden he got in some case that was so easy for some caliber of investigator like Ted Gunderson. And he found out that Satan is involved in some very trivial trial, and he became a hard investigator. He completely he could get completely nuts. He was 30 years investigating Satanists. Mrs. Clinton belongs to this Satanistic organization. She's a Satan. They're having this sign, as you will see how they produce, and Mr. Clinton and Mr. Bush as well, and other people like Blair and everybody else. And they are our biggest enemy. They're the biggest enemy of the civilization. They are the ones there. I know for a fact because I learned from the master. I was 5 years in Las Vegas. We live in the same complex. Donald will know that. Meridian Club, Howard Hughes Center, and dear friend Ted Gunderson was living just maybe in the same complex. So we was meeting each other quite often, and I was doing film about him and about all these events. I also directed a film which was to me extremely important, about most extreme experiments that Nazi scientists did on Americans after the war. And the worst experiment was MK Ultra. I was very happy to direct the film about two very famous persons who are now a very famous dissident, namely Katie O'Brien and Mark Phillips. Mark Phillips was insider. He works for the government, and he works also in Operation Paperclip, bringing those Nazi scientists and giving them false papers, and they were working with this most incredible program. And through this pattern which I met, and also to my source from CIA that gave me information about Hillary Clinton that I'm referring to, that I'm going to show you, Mr. Trump, and I'm going to, as I said, introduce you to my source, who will explain you first as a candidate for the president, and you, Mr. Giuliani, and then we'll be able to have first-hand information from the source about her treasoning. Namely, now I'm finishing my story about MK Ultra. My film was shown in Justice Department on reference. Eddie Rosenbaum was at the time head of the Justice Department Criminal Division, war criminals, and he was also working with me on Kurt Waldheim. He also wrote a book called Betrayal of Kurt Waldheim. And I show first to him. I went to Justice Department, I went to New York Times, I will show it to David Binder and all guys from Washington Bureau. And then I went also to Republic Commission, and I showed them all. So that was quite amazing that based upon my activity, and I didn't cover it for myself, Ellie Rosenbaum was sent, young lady. She was the youngest victim of that horrible problem. We should stop it. Kelly Cox, that she was sent to London for 2 years for deprogramming process. But that's another story that I wouldn't mention. Now we're going to focus our fight to eliminate candidate. Because you see, I remember when I was mentioning this in my statement that I gave you when I was approaching Mr. Brennan, I said she couldn't be blackmailed. I explained Mr. Brennan how Kurt Waldheim was blackmailed by the Russian concretely, because I remember there was a part that I got, because I read about 10,000 documents. I speak German as well, so I was able to speak original documents from German sources. And for example, one event, Mr. Kurt was at the time young secretary of Gruber, who was the foreign minister of Austria. And our representative in that part of Austria, who was under control of Russia, was Dr. Nedeljković, I remember even the name today. And Mr. Nedeljković told General Gonda, who was KGB, or I'm sorry, military intelligence officer, Colonel Konda, that Kurt Waldheim is notorious war criminal, engaged, gentlemen, in sending, hold the chair please, 70,000 Serbs who were brought with his attention, with her organization, to concentration camp of Jasenovac where they were being killed. Mr. Kurt Waldheim was also sending 50,000 Greek Jews to Auschwitz. My father, unfortunately, went in one of those trains who were passing by those time to this most notorious concentration camp in the world, and I dedicated some of my films to my father, who was a member also, who luckily survived. He was one of the few Nazi concentration camp survivors in that particular places. And he wrote a book, How the People Disappeared, and many other books about wars and everything. Now, this is why I dedicated my work and my life, which was not so easy. I also, because it's a very dangerous business, especially if you're dealing with Satanists. Kurt Waldheim was also a member of the most significant Satanic Lodge, as well as the Alan Dulles, who was involved in who created together with General Reichard Gehlen, who was Hitler's head of military intelligence on Russia. He was actually a member of a team who killed 29 million Russian people in World War II. He was the most successful organizer, brilliant mind. And after he saw that Stalin is going to win, he simply switched the uniform, and he, believe it or not, he went to the United States, and he helped with his friend from his Satanic Lodge, Alan Dulles, who was also very much engaged in the assassination of our President John F. Kennedy. He organized CIA, and later on he organized German secret police BND, and he became director of BND until 68. You could imagine a person who was first Hitler's ally was able to be founder of Secret Service of Germany. And if you go to their building, you'll see his name, Reichard Gehlen, the biggest spy and criminals of the century. Now, to come back to something which I'm going to show as the best recommendation for my work and for my fact that I know, not because I'm insider, I'm in the so-called secret society, but I also know because I was able to conduct this film, and I was giving as my award something for Mark Phillips, and because I saved the life of the youngest victim of that product. And Mrs. Kelly Cox was also, believe it or not, you can prove it, a lover of George Bush, who was a pedophile. He was bringing her to Bohemian Grove as his date when she was only 7 years old. Book has, and the documents are showing tremendous work and love life of Satanists who are very dangerous. And now, as absolutely best, my recommendation is something, well, thank God for American Patriots, but this is something which was written and by David E. Rosenbaum, a lawyer who is very well known, was extremely, who gave something, something which was really something very important for the people to know. If Adolf Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, that was his fight, explain how he will fight from the beginning that he started until the war. Reichard Gehlen wrote something other Mein Kampf, which is everything here documented. Namely, Reichard Gehlen was obsessed with this programming of people, like I did the film with MK Ultra. So he sent his son, biological son, the lady who was 43 sent to the United States. So she got a bird, and he, with his friend Mengele, by the time he made out of him a live database, very sharp eye of David Rosenbaum. He worked for Radius in the plant in Monaco, Pennsylvania, and he was able to monitor that and to engage two most brilliant American hypnotists, Dr. Russell Scott from Pennsylvania, he worked for Attorney General, and Kate Thompson, very big name in hypnosis. She's the director of Association of Hypnotists in the United States. She's number one expert. So these two individuals, together with with David A. Rosenbaum, simply use the situation to bring biological son of Reinhard Gehlen, who started working for CIA, and they start working these so-called hypnotic sessions, and they completely restored thousands of information which was only known because he was a database. So the idle spy, like Reinhard Gehlen, made a mistake, and one brilliant lawyer, Jewish lawyer, really gave this to Justice Department. This book is existing, so I'm not talking something about it. It's very important because here you have everything. We'll be able to restore a lot of events that happened before, and all of this about the Harry Oswald, about the assassination of Kennedy, everything is first-hand. But I will call it most important one when during the session, could you imagine this, of Reagan's second inauguration. He was in hypnotic trance, and he was revealing that to hypnotist that he's going to be part of the assassination of Reagan, second one, because Reagan was speaking against closed society, how they evolved, and Mr. Bush was leading this group with CIA. So all of a sudden they completely made alarm, and because they've been working all life for Secret Services and Justice Department and Attorney General and FBI stopped second inauguration of Reagan. This is extremely, there's 7 or 8 pages here, very nicely are completely explained how they helped Reagan to survive. And interesting enough, biological son of biggest war crime person who never get punished for that, Reinhard Gehlen was involved in that. This is something that's I will stop right now. I'll stay in touch with you guys. I will send you some other material, and I would very much like that we meet. I'm sorry that I very much like to come to enjoy you, although it's very difficult. But at this point, I'm using this. I cannot walk. I had two hip operations, and after that I had accidents. So I completely broke my system, and I was, until some days ago, I was using wheelchair. But somehow my system recuperated because I'm very happy Donald is winning. Donald is, I want Donald to be the best president of the United States. And I said to Mr. Brennan, I will tell Donald Trump everything I know. And I'm doing it, and I'm extremely happy that Mr. Giuliani, who I respect very much, who really did a tremendous job as the mayor of New York. I remember New York before I went to Las Vegas, or city, before he became mayor. There was horror. There was the most horrible city in the world. You couldn't walk 5 minutes in New York City without to be, Donald knows that probably because he owns his own real estate. You couldn't be, everybody's asking, give me a quarter, and if you don't give men a quarter, they made my life miserable. You go to Subway, you see all these people like in horror movies. And Giuliani really became mayor, and all of a sudden, New York they looked like a Boston. That was like the best town in the world, and that's how New York is. So Giuliani is a very persistent man. I saw how he was fighting for you on CNN the other day, and that's why I was happy. I sent to his office the letter. I hope they receive it. but I'm going to send more and more, and they will be finding way to meet each other. Gentlemen, I wish you all luck, and I'm sure that Hillary Clinton will be never the President of the United States because she is a traitor, and I have all particular details that I explain also in the video which I sent you before, because I don't want to kill you right now. I already sent you the link about that, and so that's all by now. I wish you all be careful, and we should really take care, because it is not a regular, ordinary election like we had before. We have now election, we have to fight Satanists who have big ambitions to eliminate religion, to eliminate Christianity and Judaism, to make one church and everything else. Everything is written down, believe me or not, here. And there is thousands of affairs could be made out of tremendous, actually, work of barrister Rosenbaum, who discovered the biological sign of Raphael. So there's no idle crime, and we'll be able in the future to be investigating assassination of many leaders, and even Stalin, and even Palme, who did it, and everything is written down here, who did Chernobyl and everything else. So that's why, gentlemen, I'm very glad that somehow we'll be able to prove the worst scenario, that some lady who sold the biggest secret of the United States, he sold for money, and this is horrible. And I have a proof. I know even how much she paid. I know even what is the essence of that information which was sold to the foreign country. And that's all for now. I hope to see you soon, guys. And that's all. Vuk Jovanovic, I'm reporting from Europe. And my best regards to everybody. Okay, guys, see you.